So as a young first-time home buyer, I bought my first house when I was in my early 30s, but I wish I could have started in my 20s. The one thing that I did do right, I bought a house in the hood. I think you should too. We were renovating this house. This was a flip that we did a really good job on it, but it's located in a part of town that most people deem as being the hood, undesirable. It's not where they want to be. I really feel like if you're going to buy your first house and you are young, likely single, or with a very small young family, the hood is exactly where you should be looking. And why is that? Well, for one, affordable housing is a problem. Finding an affordable place to live, period, is a problem. And the place where most of the affordable opportunities is in the hood. That is the place where you can go and find a house far below what the average median price in your town is, and you can get in with a really, really low overhead. So there's a low barrier of entry. You can find something to get in for a low down payment because the price of the house is low. The other thing is, I think that it has the greatest potential upside. So a lot of us, when we buy our houses, like we're thinking investment, right? We want it to grow. We want to grow in equity. We want to be able to be real estate investors, whatever. Buying a house in the hood actually allows you the opportunity to have like some of the most potential upside, because when these areas transform, they transform. A lot of these areas, like this one in particular, where we're selling this house, they end up falling under the category of like community revitalization, meaning there's tax benefits for people who come in and fix up these homes and make them better. But also that means the city is going to pour more money into making these neighborhoods more desirable for more people, which means you bought it for a low price. It could send your overall value through the roof, right? Like we know what gentrification is. And gentrification, it is bad for people who live in these neighborhoods and get priced out and can no longer afford it. That sucks. But for people who have kind of climbed their way up and they're looking to start their journey into real estate and home ownership, then you want to get a place that is like gentrified, and you become the gentrifier in a way. And there's a good side and a bad side to that, right? Like the good side is you actually invested in a part of the community that needs investment. So you're bringing nice homes to an area where a lot of the people can't really afford to fix up their homes. And let's just face it, like the hood is really just lower income families having a place to live, and they don't have all the amenities and they don't have the money to make these homes super nice, or to put these pools in, or to paint the whole house, or to do the fixes, right? That is not typically what they have the opportunity to do. And so these places kind of fall into disrepair and they become the hood, or they become the place where not everybody wants to live. But real estate goes in cycles. When you have that deterioration cycle, first it gets built up, then it starts to go down, starts to deteriorate, and then there is the revitalization side. That is where you take all those older houses, you invest the money into them, and you can get the equity out of them on the upside. That is why I think for anybody looking for an affordable house or their first house, the hood is the perfect place for you to put your money. A lot of times there are families that have been here for decades and decades and decades. And I'm not saying go and put your family in a neighborhood that is violent and crime ridden. Do your due diligence, because there's levels. When I did the actual crime map for where I am in Killeen, in this particular neighborhood, the crime is some of the lowest in the entire city, even in the more richer parts. Now that has to do with a lot of different factors, but these are things that you can actually go research yourself and make sure that you don't put yourself in a dangerous position or in a bad position. So when I bought my first house, I knew the neighborhood, I knew the area. I bought it from a single young lady, and she had been living in that area for years, hadn't had any issues. So she was able to say, like, no, this is good. I feel safe here. And if she felt safe there, then I knew that I would be safe there. Another topic kind of to touch on here is for my black people specifically, probably my black and brown people, but I'll say this is for anybody who grew up poor. And I felt like as a black man buying a house, I had a unique advantage because I was able to buy a very cheap house for $60,000 in the hood, and I could feel comfortable there. Like, one, there's levels of hood, okay? So there's levels, and there are certain places that I'm not gonna feel comfortable. But there are other levels of hood where I do feel comfortable, and I think as a black man, it is a unique experience to be able to go into those places that are usually heavily minority, usually lower income families, and you are able to fit in. You don't stick out like a sore thumb, and you're not making people feel threatened. So that was one of the unique advantages. And I'll say that's a unique advantage for anybody who comes from a more poor upbringing, a lower income upbringing, is you can come into these areas, buy a home, and not feel like, you have to watch your back. And you can start to build something. You can start to build that equity. You can start to build your real estate portfolio. Like, starter homes are non-existent these days, especially in some parts of like Texas. Starter homes are $300,000 and $400,000. But here where I am, starter home right now is $100K. $150K. The one that we redid, we're listing it for $169. And like, there's probably 6 homes in this entire city for $169. And in the entire state of Texas, there are probably only a few dozen to be found. Facts. We should start looking at the place where not everybody wants to live as an opportunity. And if I am a young person wanting to get into real estate one way or other, the easiest way to become a real estate investor is to buy a piece of real estate to live in. If I'm gonna be starting my real estate journey as a young person that's not worried about the schools, that's not worried about the amenities, even though this one has an amazing playground right around the corner. But if I'm not worried about all kind of the bouginess, the flashiness, and the show, and I'm a young person looking to build wealth over the long term, I'm starting in the hood. It's what I actually did. And that's why I can give that advice to somebody who's looking to buy their first home or to start their real estate journey. I think the hood is where you should have your eyes on. So where we are is 2 minutes away from one of the most notorious streets that everybody says is horrible and bad. But what they're about to do is dump tens of millions of dollars into transforming that street that everybody doesn't like. It's Rancier if you're in Killeen. They're about to transform that street and in turn transform everything around it. That type of property value increase, you can't just find it anywhere. It has to be in those opportunity zones. And then the other thing about buying in these type of zones is there's always demand for your product. There is always demand for affordable housing. So we have this house that we're selling for $169. It's gonna sell. Right? It's beautiful, they did good stuff, but because it's priced where it's priced, it's gonna sell in any market. Doesn't matter up market, down market. It'll sell for more in an up market, a little less in a down market, but it's gonna sell. You know yourself and your own situation, and I think there is a certain demographic, a certain avatar that fits this type of investment strategy or this type of living strategy. But buying your first house in the hood, add value to it because there's usually a lot of opportunity to add value to these type of homes. And then you either sit on it and never sell it because you can probably pay it off fairly quickly and you rent it out to somebody later on down the line, or when you do sell it, these are the neighborhoods where if you put in the work to make it nice, these are the places where you'll see the most equity growth. Go buy a house in the hood. Doesn't got to be this one that I'm selling, but I'll say this, man, don't mark it off your list. Go do your due diligence, do your searches, go and look at the actual crime map, because a lot of times that side of town that people are telling you is so bad and you don't want to live in could have a lower crime rate than the side of town where everybody's flocking to because they didn't actually go and look at the data. All right, that's my rant. Go check out this other video over here if you're looking to buy or sell a home anywhere in the state of Texas, but especially in Central Texas around the Fort Cavazos area. I got you. Reach out. I would love to hear your story. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.